There is no news from Disneyland Paris this week.
So should we say goodbye? Is that what we're
emotional? Yeah.
No, I'm going to give a little explanation of that. We did look up the news, both myself and Chris and Hugh, kind of over my shoulder, looked up the news, and we found things about security tents, a little bit of refurbishment of the odds, restaurant
scaffolding
sign.
Coming off the bridge in Adventureland.
Yeah, they've got some new macarons in one of the bakeries. But we kind of feel, and we've told you this before, that when we have weeks like we've had some really good news weeks.
Oh yeah.
When we have weeks like this, we think we'd rather say no news and talk about something else than really try eke out what we think of these new macarons, because it can get a little bit tedious. And if you're interested in stuff like that, there's some really good news sites on Twitter that you can go to, and have a little think in your own mind, have a little conversation with the voices in your head. But for today, we're going to talk about something else, aren't we?
It sounds fun.
Yes.
That's talking about something else.
Disney related.
Oh. And as Christmas is coming, we've got a couple of topics in mind. One of which is going to be if you had to receive a fantasy Disney gift, not one that exists, but one that you invented. Maybe a Lego set of something they haven't done yet, or a certain design of Loungefly bag or something. What would you want to receive? So you can start having to think about that. The other thing, we're always teasing that we want to talk about IPs. It's like we're always saying,
who doesn't?
Let's talk about the use of IPs in hotels and things like that. And all these various different conversations and rants we've gone on. There are no notes. So we're going to have another free-form show, which I know some people have said they really enjoy. So let's just get to it.
No notes today.
And if you do have anything that you do want us to discuss, bang it in the comments.
I've got a really nice smell in my nose, so without further ado, can we just talk about drinks?
Well, my tiki cup's a little bit hot today, Chris, because we just did some last minute wine mulling.
Oh, it smells superb.
And it's the classic Glühwein bottle from Lidl. Sometimes I will decant inferior mulled wine into that bottle because it looks so nice.
It's too hot to drink at the moment.
It is. I can't even pick this cup up.
It's been overmulled.
My tiki cup is too hot.
Chris, our tech advisor has just told us that they can't hear the music.
At all. The music can't be heard. Interesting. I'm just going to press the music again.
Was that the same with the intro music?
Oh, yeah, look, it isn't playing. Yeah, none of the intros are played. That's interesting. You watch what's going to happen in a second. Oh, not when I do that, it's not. Oh, gosh, this is good TV/radio, isn't it?
Well, it is for us because we get to listen to the music.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll say hello to Bob's here. He's sulking because Amazon's 3 weeks late publishing.
Oh, yeah, we've been waiting for Bob's book. We discussed it last week, didn't we?
Bob sent us a very nice email or stroke message this week with some music in it. I don't know if you witnessed this, but he sent it to the three of us.
I don't think I did.
Main Street Christmas music.
Oh
my word! It is the most festive thing.
Oh,
ever.
Is it love? Oh, we need to get that on. We could do with a bit of Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Also, and I've forgotten to bring it, and I really do apologise for this, but the Dunn family sent us a Christmas card to our postal address, which we gave out via secret message after last week's discussion. And they've sent both my wing and your wing a card, but I've left your card in my wing.
Oh well. We'll see you.
I apologise.
I'm going to see you like 3 times next weekend. So,
well, just to go back on things a little bit, then I'm hoping now that we might actually have some tiki music. So I'm going to play it because otherwise
we can just enjoy it anyway.
Yeah. We always do.
Cross your fingers. It's working now. I can see it.
It's showtime.
Hold together.
In your tiki cup. In your tiki cup. Well, you made yourself a beverage. Now drink it up from your tiki cup.
Mulled wine. There we go.
I started recording a new jingle for the Classics podcast.
Yeah.
For our favourite bits.
Oh yeah. Our favourite bits.
Even though we're nearly at the end, I just thought, you know what? I want that because that's the bit that I always miss, and if I put that into the jingles, then I'll remember it. So, watch this space.
Well, Well, they could hear that. So we've got
good.
so Bob's here. We've got Mark Chester, who's helping us out with some of our, pointing out some of our issues, which we appreciate. Penny's here. Penny's already got.
I'm gonna get onto
she's got
that.
ideas, and Mike Suffield is also here.
Right,
Occasionally, Mike, we just full name people like that.
I'm gonna launch straight in. So the first suggestion I gave, we talked about this in the car on the way back. We've been to visit Santa, haven't we?
Yes.
On
a steam train.
On a steam train in Yorkshire.
Emily's here. She says, "Good morning."
Good morning, Emily.
Hello, Emily.
From exotic lands afar, she travels.
G'day.
So yeah, we were talking last year. We did our fantasy Disney Christmas gifts, what we would want to receive, and we did like 3 budgets, didn't we? We did it under $20, under $100, and then no limit. A night in Cinderella's castle.
Reach for the sky.
Yeah. So I thought we can't do that again. But are there any gifts that you wish existed, that if they did exist, you would buy them, or you would buy them for a loved one, or just something perfect? Now, the most obvious first thing we're going to talk about in a separate discussion anyway is Disney do Lego sets. What Lego sets do you wish they did that they didn't currently do? So I'm going to go straight on to Penny's 2 answers, and then I'm going to throw it out to you guys, okay?
Right.
Penny has said...
Is this park related, are we saying, though?
No, it doesn't have to be park related. It can be park related.
I'm going to limit myself to parks.
Okay.
Okay.
So she says the Disneyland Paris castle. Now, there is a generic castle which is closest to Florida, but is not anatomically correct as Florida. It's kind of a hybrid of all of them. But I think we've all universally agreed that we have the most beautiful castle. Don't we?
The 2 most beautiful.
Yeah, the two. We've got the
beautiful.
first most beautiful castle, which is obviously the Queen of Hearts castle in Alice's Curious Labyrinth, and the second most beautiful one, which is Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi.
So I have to agree.
Sam Metcalf, by the way.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam Metcalf.
She's made it. She's not made it for live and for a while, but here she is.
And those square trees, and also the hidden detail of having the dragon underneath, I agree, would be an amazing Lego set. She also then said...
Well, just on the Disneyland Paris one, there's a guy on Facebook, isn't there, who's built basically all of Disneyland Paris in Lego. And I have seen a couple of times that he's made plans available for some of the things that he's done with rough ideas of the cost it would be to order all the individual bricks for it. So you never know. It might actually be a feasible thing. I haven't seen one for Disneyland Paris, for the castle, sorry, but it does happen, so... I think that's the place to look out. I joined a site called Lego Ideas, which is where people put their ideas and they get voted up and down, and that's how things like the Fender guitar got put into construction and things. So it's well worth looking out in places like that to see if you can get them boosted if they've got plans there for them.
Indeed. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Penny also said to do the Tangled Tower, which I do believe they do in kind of a little small junior set. But I know what you're saying. You're saying the equivalent of the Hogwarts Castle, the Disney Castle, the Tangled Tower. I can agree with that. But Hugh, you sounded like you had ideas.
Well, there's a very obvious one, which is the Phantom Manor.
Yes.
Which would be a great set.
Now,
and I imagine as well, it's on a hinge. You can open it up, and there's maybe it wouldn't have the whole ride in it, but you could at least have maybe the banqueting hall inside.
The stretching room.
Yeah,
you could have a moving stretching room, couldn't you?
You could have the banqueting hall, and if you look at it from a vantage point, it all works. 'Cause you could feasibly have all the mechanics underneath and be able to visibly see all the ghosts and things.
With mirrors and
actually
things.
Working. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, they do.
Good gravy.
There's a series of Lego now that does augmented reality as well, isn't there? Where you can see things when you hold your.
I'd prefer it not to be augmented though. I'd prefer it just to be the old-fashioned.
Well, it should be
mirrors and glass
music hall tricks and stuff. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love that.
There is a haunted house set, but it's not Disney related. But it is kind of that generic colonial style kind of thing. But no, we want Disney's Phantom Manor. Disneyland Paris's Phantom Manor.
I think that's my favourite looking one. I don't like the Disneyland one so much.
No.
It's not. Yeah, I don't like the Disney World one either. The Paris one, it's got a real sort of. It's really atmospheric, isn't it?
Do you know what I would do?
What's that?
Skull Rock.
Skull Rock.
Skull Rock would make a good Lego piece.
Yeah.
And just
With
for
the pirate ship as well.
that's what I was thinking. I think it'd
That'd be expensive.
have to have the galleon. Well, just for pure aesthetics, it would be an odd thing to just have on its own. It somehow balances.
I'm sure you
doesn't
could
it?
get a massive pile of grey Lego and figure it out.
Yeah, particularly if you knew AutoCAD or something, you can like model it, can't you, and then work it out from there. Which I don't.
They've got all those models, haven't they? Lego, where you build like a street and things. So like Main Street is another obvious thing, isn't it? But you could literally buy that in
you
blocks
can
and get all the different bits.
I've said that before. I can't remember what the range is called, but they do have all that Victorian, Americana kind of buildings, and I've said that's just Main Street, full stop. So you can kind of do Main Street and the castle. What about Space Mountain?
That guy's done Space Mountain as well. Yeah, I mean, visually it'd be fantastic. I guess
Our one.
if you want a
Paris
functional one, though, it's an indoor roller coaster. It's not going to be much to look at, is it? It's going to be a bit of a strange one. If you think of it as a functional ride.
I feel that way about the Millennium Falcon. It's like it's a huge, expensive thing, and at the end of it, you've got a big grey circle.
Yeah.
Does that not have any cockpits or
Yeah, I think
details? Can it
Yeah, there's loads
open?
of stuff inside and it can open, but when you store it, you're not going to store it open, are you?
No, you'd put that back in the garage, wouldn't you?
Well, my brother-in-law got it for his 50th birthday, and he's built it and collapsed it something like 3 times now. When he's done it, he's
Yeah.
like,
That's
where do I put it? So just
the
take
fun
it
is
off.
the fun after a certain age is building it or displaying it, but like playing with it.
Do you know I had
Maybe not so much for us.
a Hogwarts set, not the Hogwarts set that is in my bedroom and is still my beloved, but I had a Hogwarts set that I reverse built and sold to you, didn't I, Chris?
You did, yeah.
But I had as much fun following the instructions backwards, just there's a little bit of obsessive compulsiveness going on with counting the bricks. Also, I kept a makeup brush with me and cleaned some of the bricks as I went along if I didn't think they were sale-worthy. And there's as much pleasure in doing that as there is the actual builds. Mark has just said...
Well, I was going to say this as well, Mark, and I changed my mind at the last minute, but yeah, go on.
Swiss Family Treehouse.
It would be good. I mean, you've just done a bonsai tree.
Oh, I have.
So, you know.
I really like the bouquet of flowers. I've been trying to persuade Laura to let me get that to put in the vase in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was wondering if my mum had liked that, and I couldn't work it out, so I didn't want to take the plunge, really.
Swiss Family Tree would be good. Very complex.
Yeah, really good.
Would be fun to build.
Penny says, can you give the link for the man who's...
Yeah, sorry, that's why I've just been looking at my phone. Penny, it's just called Disney Brick. If you look on Facebook for Disney Brick, it's that, and it's really good. There's bits of videos and things as well. But he's done designs for Nightmare Before Christmas as well that he's put forward before, and has most of the park and the studios as well, I think, built up. Some of it with functional things like Big Thunder Mountain's a fully functional ride. It's brilliant.
Speaking of the studios, I was thinking, so I was almost forgetting, but Tower of Terror would be pretty good. I don't actually, I don't personally love the look of the Tower of Terror. It's a very odd building. It's not like any building that could ever exist.
It's a bit lopsided, isn't it?
Actually, is this one of those things where someone's going to go, well, actually, it's based on a place in LA? It might be, actually. But
No, not a single... we watched the programme on it, not a single place in LA, but certainly the architectural style. But it's meant to have been struck by lightning, which is what gives it that weird top-heavy, lopsided thing.
But that could have moving parts in. That could have a little elevator in it. Also, Mark was saying Julie would like It's a Small World. He said, do you mean the front? Her answer was no. All of it.
It's funny you should say that. I was looking, now you can get sets to do portraits with, and you can custom build them. Bonnie has also got the dot sets, which is where you kind of just get bracelets and then you can do designs. And I was playing with her pastel coloured dot sets and thinking, do you know, it would be awesome to get a baseboard and get loads of dots
and just do a Mary Blair
and do
thing.
some Mary Blair style... well, the front of Small World, basically, or something like that. And I think it's something you could conceivably do yourself and have a nice kind of A3 piece of art to put on the wall at the end of it. So what if I did that?
There's so much they could do at the Disney parks alone, the parks alone. Like they could do every attraction.
They've done the
you could
train
build
station.
the entire park in your loft. Well, that'd be good.
What about, I know it's your favourite castle, but bear with me, Alice's Curious Labyrinth, but do the whole labyrinth table-sized. That would be good.
That would be nice.
There'd be loads
If you
of
could find some
fun
way of
detail.
of manoeuvring something through it.
Oh, so you've got like a track, but it's people running or whatever, and
You could just do Lego figures, but with magnets in the feet.
oh yeah, I like that.
And then you'd have to do
You
it
need
from
to pull 'em
underneath.
round.
You'd need a very thin table that would support a lot of...
We'll think about that.
Think about before we pitch it to Disney. We'll
Josh,
think about it.
well done, Josh. He's noticed something in the background of... listeners might not be able to see, but because we've got like a Christmassy makeover today, there's a little hidden... Well, there's a hidden Mickey. Yeah. It's quite subtle. The ears aren't touching the head, and one of them's slightly smaller than the other. But yeah, well done, Josh.
Can I just say, by the way, before we started recording today, Lucy had got her camera out again and was doing bits of filming. She asked me if I was feeling
Lucy
Christmassy,
and
and I wasn't particularly, but I am now. This is making me feel really festive. It's the mulled wine and the smell of gingerbread and
That's it.
the
You
Christmas
need some.
jumpers and the snow behind us. And
You need the chemical memories to
We've
really
got
make it go,
a gingerbread
don't you?
candle going on as well. You know, it's all going on. Yeah, mulled wine. We would have had some Christmas treats, but we're all full, aren't we?
Yeah, we've
Are you
had,
full, Chris? We're full. We just had a massive
yeah, I
dinner.
had pork belly with black pudding
I
mash.
could eat.
Right, have we exhausted? Oh no, we haven't exhausted it. I've got another one.
I'm sorry. Just really quickly, because you were talking about Mary Blair. If you're on Twitter, there's a Twitter account worth following called Tiny Spires.
I follow them, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's just random made Mary Blair type.
Yeah, it's just
small
this-
world art, and every day they just tweet different ones.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Almost to the point where you wonder if it's just like, if something's just generated.
Computer
I think
generated.
It's generated.
But, is it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just generated.
But yeah, that's a nice little thing they've got going there. Yeah, I follow that because I really appreciate that.
Oh no, it does say patterns by Susan Kerr.
Yeah. Okay, so she's making them.
Tweets every 3 hours. No, I don't think she is. Not every 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah, you'd run out of ideas, wouldn't you?
Maybe she just wrote the program.
I think that's it. I think it's lots of different shapes and things that she's pulled together, and then an algorithm makes you a new spire.
We think.
Every
If
3
she's
hours.
watching, let us know your process.
I've got one more Lego, and then anyone else who wants to jump in with the Lego.
Don't just
before
have
I
to be
move on.
Lego though. Well, we were going to do this Lego chat before, weren't we?
Yeah.
Not sure we
We
did.
did. No, I think we did, didn't we? Did we not have a Lego chat once?
We might have already had this
sure we
exact conversation.
I would
think we
like, and they could do a whole range of it and collect them, and people would Disney/Lego. So listen to me, the parade floats, like certain iconic
Oh, yeah.
floats, and you could get them moving. And if you did 7, which is your average parade length, and they were like £200 each, people would buy all 7
about if they
eventually, wouldn't they?
What about rather than Lego, if there were the kind of ornament type things that are like about 3 inches long each one? Because then you could feasibly have somewhere to keep them, and you could swap and change them in and out and stuff as well. Whereas with Lego, they'd be this big easily.
Yes,
wouldn't
they
to
would.
start
Yeah.
with?
So are you talking like almost like buying a train set? You know, they sell the train set at Christmas in the Emporium.
don't
We could do
even
it like a parade set,
I don't even think that. Just like a little.
individual.
Yeah, like the little ornaments you used to get in Kinder Eggs, something like that. But parade floats.
Let's face it though, I think the castle is like going to be the one that you'd want to display the most, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Especially with like if you get the hill in there and the square trees on it
and the dragon
and the dragon, yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
and the stage for all the slightly disappointing shows.
Oh,
Yeah, that you can't see because everyone's decided to stand up even though you're not supposed to. It's true.
Don't be
I
that
would set
guy.
up. I would have that there.
True, isn't it, listeners, that you're watching a show, everyone's seated, and then all it takes, and this happens every time, one person when the show starts goes, "No, I'm going to stand up," and one person means everybody has to stand up then. And whereas you could all see before, now depending on how tall you are, it's a lottery.
Well, we did one of the dessert parties in Disney World, and what happens is you pay for like a dessert buffet and there's cider included and things like that, but it means that you get reserved area to watch the fireworks. And it's an area on the hub, so if you think of all these like triangles of grass, you just get one of the triangles of grass. And it was gorgeous because everyone just sat down, got some picnic blankets out on this triangle of grass. Kids were running around enjoying themselves. It was just this lovely like village picnic atmosphere. And then the parade started and everyone stood up, and there was absolutely no reason because everyone in that area had a reserved area.
Why would you
it was
choose
dry.
to stand
Everyone
when
could
when you're
see.
sitting?
Yeah. I just don't understand. And we were towards the back of the grass thinking we had a really good view because everyone was sat down and we had this good thing. And then we had to stand up.
These are the same people. And now some people are going to be like saying, well, what's wrong with that? These are the people who stand still on an escalator that's going down.
That's me, but I get vertigo.
I don't understand. Well, yeah, you get wobbling, you're going to fall over. But I don't understand why you'd be going along at a certain pace and then you'd say to yourself, no, I'm going to go slower than I need to. Walk down. I understand going up, maybe, even though I still walk up. But you know, what I mean?
You know what my pet
Same
peeve
people.
is? You know, supermarkets where the car park's underneath, and you get your trolley and you go onto the escalator, and it's not steps; it's like a slope. Yeah, and then your wheels lock into it.
Yeah.
So you can't move.
Yeah.
I like to wedge it up so that only the back wheels are in, and just if you keep wiggling it as you go, you can walk while you're going down the stairs.
Lucy will confirm. I do the same. Sometimes you can just push it up with brute force.
Yeah.
Probably breaking the trolley or something, but I'll just go, nah, I'm pushing this up.
While we're at this, those moving walkways in airports, and for that matter, those moving walkways at Disneyland Paris.
I don't go on them.
They're not working half the time. But what they're designed for, Chris, is because you've got a 20-minute walk, they're meant to turn it into a 10-minute walk because you're meant to walk on those moving walkways.
Yeah, but people don't, so
to
I
speed
just
up.
don't go on them.
Exactly. It's like it's not designed for you just to stand and have a rest. That's not why they're there. They're designed to speed your walking pace.
Maybe, but they can be used that way because some people might,
Have tired legs.
Yeah. But some people just go, oh, okay, now I just stand still, do I?
I do think, though...
Use your brain!
I do think the rest of the country
And your
outside
legs.
of London is at a disadvantage when it comes to escalators because on the tube they've got it sorted. You stand on the left and you walk on the right, and it's really, really
They
easy.
haven't
Or the other way
got
around.
the hang of that in Leeds.
No, but they don't.
There's always someone on the left standing there.
But nobody speaks to you when you go to London, whereas if you get off a bus, you say thank you around here. So
Cheers.
It's a trade-off, isn't it?
Cheers.
It's a trade-off. Escalators for politeness.
Bonnie says that as well, and some bus drivers find it really funny. I'll go cheers. She'll go cheers.
When I was at uni, we used to say Chiswick instead of cheers to the bus drivers and think it was hilariously funny.
In Hull, they say cheers, drive.
Right, I'm going to bring this back to Disney. So Bob has suggested the Main Street Electrical Parade. I like that. You can get electric lighting packs,
Lights on,
can't you, for your parades if you're going to do that?
Phantom Manor's glow in the dark inside.
Yeah, of course it is. You can get a lighting pack for the castle. Have you got a lighting pack for your castle?
No, I keep thinking about it. Maybe at some point I will.
Mark says, I'm for the standing brigade on the escalators, opportunity for contemplation and smile at total strangers.
When my parents moved to London when I was a baby, they used to sit on the tube and deliberately smile at everybody to try and
Someone spoke to me on the underground, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Someone talked to me. And then I soon realised he was from, like, Leeds. So he was from the north. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. That's second Leeds mention.
What about the Nautilus?
Ooh, the whole Nautilus or just the top of the Nautilus?
I like the idea of it. I don't think it'd be a big seller.
No, probably not. No. Autopia would be pretty cool.
Orbitron.
Crush's Coaster,
Again, maybe not
Blue
big seller.
Box.
Autopia Scalelectric.
Have we got any non-Lego ideas?
I was going to say, let's go on to the other fantasy gift ideas. Have you anything?
We were saying a while ago, there's so many things they could do with, like, maybe just taking, like, an image of the map of the park and just printing it on things. Is that what? Do you remember this conversation? I was saying they could print it on a tea towel. They just print it on anything, and people just be like, because just anything iconic. I think
The
sometimes
studio's in its current form.
Yeah. But I think sometimes things are over designed, and I think you can just take a logo. You can take a logo for, like, the rides. Whack them on a T-shirt. People are going to go, I'll have that. Rather than have it be some elaborate thing. Just literally just get all the logos they've got in the park and just stamp them on a T-shirt. You do it in one colour. It'd be cheap. I'd buy that.
I do not like... This is most of Disney apparel. I'd say this is 80% of Disney apparel in all parks is quite Larry coloured cartoon characters with a big fonting thing, and I'm not a fan particularly. I like it to be a bit subtle, a bit different. Clothes that I would buy in any shop but with a little Disney twist.
Yeah.
I quite like it when in Paris in particular, they do couture stuff, and when they've got a skirt that just looks like a skirt, but when you get close, instead of polka dots, it's tiny Mickey heads. I kind of like that, because people seeing me wear it would never think that's a Disney skirt, but I know it is.
It appeals to both, fans and non-fans, You can get away with both. Or just, we were talking about that tiny spires thing, just that geometric print. Bang that on a skirt. Done.
They've done that on leggings and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
I'd like some of the rarer characters as plushies, like the whale that sang at the Met, stuff like that. Just like some really random stuff. The tugboat from that film as well. I don't know. I just think it'd be really nice. Nobody'd buy them, but it'd be really nice to have some things that were just like talking pieces when you come into the house and people say, "Oh, you've got a Mickey."
Well,
why has that whale got two uvulas?
Well, that brings.
What about that? But it's a Bertie Bass, but it's the whale.
That brings another interesting question. What films or what IPs do you think are underrepresented in the park? Do you think it's a crime they're not there, like Atlantis?
I can answer the other way around. Like I said last week, I'm surprised that 10 years after the film came out, there was all of a sudden a whole Ratatouille land, and I'm like, I know it's in France, but so you can excuse that. But now it's even worse in Florida. I'm like, I know it's in the France Pavilion, but I'm like, really? Now you're gonna add a Ratatouille, right? A Ratatouille. Like, when I think of Pixar, and it's a beloved film and it's perfectly fine. It's not one of my favourites, but when you think of Pixar, I don't think of Ratatouille, do you?
No, not really.
And I'm like, why did that get a whole land?
Well, you see, I know we were going to discuss IPs as a separate thing, but you've dog whistled me a bit here, because I firmly believe the IP doesn't matter. The quality of the ride and the land matters. Now, Ratatouille could be a film I'd never seen, didn't care about. It could even not be a film. It could be a rat that they've just invented for the purpose of that ride, and I would still like it just as much. And then conversely, they could do a film that I absolutely adore, like Tangled, and if the area didn't get me or the ride was, a bit meh, I wouldn't feel any better about it. I mean, the best example is Pandora in Animal Kingdom, which is amazing. Don't give a hoot about the film. Don't give a hoot at all. So I don't think that what IP is, or the fact that it's old or not popular, I don't think that matters if the quality's there, personally.
Yeah. Hi, Helen. I'm going to keep doing that.
I'd like to see more Hercules.
Okay.
And specifically in Paris, I would like to see more Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think they're missing something there.
Hercules in what form? Not characters, because they're just, talked about this before, but they're just so angular and stuff. They're just not, they wouldn't be nice to meet, would they?
I think it would make a good show. I think it would make a good musical.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it was not characters, if it was human people characters.
Steer away from the gods.
Yeah. Like the Muses. Oh, they should do a meet and greet that's just the Muses. That would be brilliant. The way they do the Seven Dwarfs.
Actually. Yeah, that would be cool.
But you're right, trying to represent them as actual humans who are not going to be that shape might not translate as well. Might just be girls in gold dresses.
But you could have a load of like urns and vases and stuff with ornate pictures on them that would just be enough of a thing to lend to and remind you of something. You know, we tell the story of Sleeping Beauty in the castle, and we tell the story of Aladdin in Aladdin's Passage. You could do that, couldn't you? You could have something that did that with Hercules quite well, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it wouldn't necessarily have to be the story of the Hercules film either. It could go into different bits of Greek mythology or anything. It'd be quite cool.
We're going to get onto IP overlays in a bit, aren't we? But Penny is just saying she wishes they could do more Tangled and Princess and Frog in Frontierland.
Yeah.
And even though, just to give it away, I'm kind of generally against IP overlays, I wouldn't be that against it on the boat. On the Molly Brown.
Oh yeah, if they turn that into a Princess and the Frog kind of Mississippi boat ride, that's a really good idea.
You know, it wouldn't have to change too much.
Yeah.
In fact, they could even just be. You could just have character meets on there. Is that too?
It's true. You've got a soundtrack, haven't you? When you're
maybe they could just be walking
human.
around, waving.
Yeah. Or just a little hint in the
just
deck.
Bob Tiana on that boat, and that's all you need to do, really, isn't it? Bob
or even, you know how when you go on that ride. When you get round the other side of Thunder Mountain, there's a couple of little Easter eggs, and there's a fishing hut and a guy fishing or something, and you can see some if they just had, Tiana and Naveen on the banks, there's a little bit of an Easter egg that you could see as you went past.
Going down the bayou as you went past it.
And it would, that would work really well.
A bit like the storybook. Yeah, the storyboat, I suppose, isn't it? Storybook boat.
Yeah. There is Tangled on the storybook boat ride, but it's really the tiniest hint for the size of the film. Yeah, there is.
It's up high, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on.
It's next to the Seven Dwarfs Mine.
Yeah, I'm always too busy looking at. Oh, Lucy.
Seven Dwarfs Mine.
That's better.
It's the dwarves' bell.
Some people won't know what that was, but yeah, she said dwarves. It's dwarfs. And if you don't believe me, look it up because you might be surprised. It's like the Berenstain phenomenon, the Mandela effect.
My main focuses when we go on the storyboat are the Peter and the Wolf.
Isn't it behind Peter and the Wolf?
Chernabog. Well, I turn over to the side. Chernabog. And then before I know it, we're going into the Aladdin's passage, into Aladdin's tunnel, and then it's obviously Return to Oz.
I always like there's a little.
I just love the music.
Yeah, and you can see people in boats going, "What's that doing there?"
Yeah. There's a very tiny Sword in the Stone tribute on your left as you come out of the tunnel, and I always like to I just look at it, remind myself. Yeah, it's like and that one. Let's not forget that one because I
love that ride, but I kind of love how lame some of it is. Like the worst bit is Mount Olympus. It's just such a nothing-looking little island in the middle, and
there you go. They're things that I miss because I'm so busy going. Oh, look at these other bits.
Penny said it's ridiculous that Beauty and the Beast is so underrepresented given that it's a French story and we're in Paris. The thing is, it's kind of the point in history that matters there because it was opened in 1992. I think Beauty and the Beast was released in 1992, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's a tale as old as time, Lucy. It doesn't matter.
But the point is that most of the park will have been designed in 89 before this happened. So it didn't manage to get that. But then also, when you start rebuilding and remodelling, it'll miss that wave as well. Now, I think it's far enough now that it becomes kind of catalogue. Whereas if they'd done it in 1998, they'd got other stuff coming out, it becomes catalogue. I think they would now.
You have to put Emma Watson in there.
Oh. See, that's the worst thing. Even when it appears in Illuminations, it's blooming Moody Pants swanning across some turrets. That's not for me.
And a beast that's dead behind the eyes.
I do agree with you. The thing is, in Paris, which IPs are heavily represented? The rides that you've got in Fantasyland are Peter Pan, Snow White, Pinocchio, Alice in Wonderland, which I think we can agree, all being Silver and Gold Age, are just quite iconic in their own way. And beyond that, I'm so proud to say that Paris has stuck far more to original IPs than the other parks have, because Phantom Manor is an original IP. Pirates of the Caribbean, yes, it's had its overlay, but that was originally an IP. And Space Mountain is Hyperspace Mountain, so what am I on about?
Yeah, and the Star Wars there, and then there's Buzz Lightyear as well. There
is. Now, the one thing I would say is overrepresented is Toy Story. But it is 3.5 massive films, isn't it? So.
What's the half? Toy Story of Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't accept the fourth one. So I don't know what I think they're due for is a new Fantasyland area, which they did in Florida, in that they did an extra loop that's just called New Fantasyland, and it was an extension that was built.
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, because you've no Little Mermaid either.
In Paris.
You've no Beauty and the Beast, you've no Little Mermaid. We're about to get Frozen, we've no Tangled. I'm wondering if the studios, they've got expansion pads around that lake. I'm wondering if some of these... I don't think Beauty and the Beast
too much. Studios is for IP though, isn't it? I mean, it's for Marvel, Star Wars,
immersive
Pixar,
lands,
and Frozen, which I guess has managed to branch out from Walt Disney Animation to its own thing in that kind of context. But
These two topics have merged
Yeah, they have.
seamlessly, haven't they?
Yes.
Seamlessly.
But just to kind of cement it, I wanted to talk about IP overlays because it's good and it's bad. My problem with IP overlays is, as an adult, if I go to a Disney park and you're paying like thousands of pounds just to stay in one of their resorts, I don't want to see what's happening in Florida where Edna Mode's on the pillows, because all of a sudden I'm a bit embarrassed. And I know it's at a family park and people are saying, well, you know, people miss the point by saying, well, then go somewhere else then, you know. You're in Disneyland, what do you expect? What I expect is a Disney standard of theming without this, like, really simple, like, backwards idea of just going, well, we'll slap a character on the curtains and things like that. I think it's really sad. And, the Polynesians getting Moana overlays.
And it is literally a massive hey in the wallpaper overlooking your coffee machine. It's very in your face. Now the thing is,
I just find it so disappointing when they do that.
If I can give a few details of what I think our IP's done
Moana's not even a good film.
excellently, is I think it might be the Yacht Club in Florida, which is very similar to Newport Bay. It's been a while since I've stayed at Newport Bay, but they've got constellations in the curtains. They've got starry curtains, and if they're all crumbled up, you just think the starry curtains. And then as you open them up, the lines that you would use to draw the Big Dipper, they've drawn some Disney characters between the lines. So you've got a very faint Hercules and you've got a very faint... And you don't notice it, but if you look, the detail's there and you're rewarded. As a fan, you're rewarded. So the decor is Victorian, northeast coast of America. It's all like that. So you've got your classiness. And then as a Disney fan, you're rewarded for having a closer look.
That's part of the fun of it, isn't it? It's trying to find the detail.
I mean, how much do people love hidden Mickeys?
Yeah.
Bob agrees. Couldn't agree more. Subtlety is key.
Exactly. And I think that all the hotels should have Disney details everywhere that they can. But I think you should have to work for them. And as fans, I think we enjoy working for them. I think if you walk into a room and the first thing you're greeted with is, you know, like a 12-inch picture of Hey on the wall, it's not doing it.
Penny's asking, do you like the Toy Story overlay in the Hotel of Cheyenne? Yes and no. It's not. I don't find it that offensive, but I just think I would rather it just be a cowboy themed room, and then I'm in my own adventure there. I'm waking up. I'm a cowboy. I'm not like, because you're nothing else in that room, in a Toy Story room. You're just a guest in a Disney hotel. Whereas if it's just themed to something, you know, like fantastical, then you're in that story then.
And the rest of the hotel feels like that. It's just the rooms, isn't it, where you've got the Toy Story stuff. Well,
it's kind of pointless.
It's Woody's Roundup as well, really, isn't it? Because if it was going to be Toy Story themed, it'd be Andy's bedroom, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise, it isn't doing what it should be doing.
It's pointless. I don't understand. Like, are people going, oh, we must go there now that it's a Toy Story bedroom?
Well, no, I think
some will.
Some kids and some parents are. To your point, the Woody's boot, if they had the Woody's boot lamp and nothing else, that would be a really good Easter egg because it would keep it as a cowboy room.
And the curtains.
But you'd go, and the curtains.
The checkered curtains.
You'd go,
that strip
look.
of wallpaper that got the bit that goes like
with the characters on it.
Frieze, border, whatever you call them.
But I think that's more acceptable. And I feel the same way about the Florida hotels because it is your, I don't like this word, your budget option. And we all know there is no budget option when it comes to Disney. But it's the lowest level ranking. And traditionally that attracts families and families with multiple children and things. And so I think it's acceptable for them. Where do you want to stay, love? I want to stay in a Toy Story, in a Cars room. Take them to Santa Fe. The kids will love it. They'll come home with memories. That's fine. When you get to your higher levels, your Newport Bays and your Disneyland hotels, your clientele changes. And also the level of investment, the level of fan. Now, I don't mean financial investment because I don't think that should matter. But the type of fan that goes there changes. And at this point, I think you should stop catering for the lowest denominator in the family and start catering a little bit more for the mature taste, personally.
I knew when I said Moana's not a good film that was You know, I was just throwing that out there, but Julie's she did a sharp intake of breath.
You've been teasing this for weeks in the Classics podcast.
Yeah, because we've not reviewed it. I don't hate it, but I think it's got so many problems. I'm going to tear it to bits.
All right.
What else? And Mike's saying slapping characters everywhere really cheapens it, and it cheapens it. The other example I'm thinking of, and again, it's not Paris, but it's just indicative of a larger way of thinking. I just don't think's right. It's like you take the monorail. How iconic is the monorail, right? It's just a monorail.
Mm-hmm. And it's a Disney IP of its own in many ways.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then they introduced the Skyline, and everything's got these character wraps on it. And I know that's interesting going, which one are we going to get? Are we going to get Daisy? Are we going to get a Pixar one? It just... When you see old pictures of these cable cars and they're just like blue or red and white, you know what I mean? They're just they're so classy looking. And then when I see something with characters all over it, I just go, it's conversely boring to put characters on it. Not conversely, it's paradoxically boring to put characters on them. I think.
Yeah.
I think
it's like chucking advertising on everything. So
yes.
I went to see a podcast this week.
You don't need to be advertised Disney in a Disney park, do you?
No, exactly. I went to see a podcast this week. We went to watch Shag Married Annoyed. Laura really likes it, so we went to watch that. It's Chris Ramsey and his wife. And they talk about all sorts of stuff. But they have a sponsor for their tour. So when we were sat down before it all, big screens with the sponsors on it and all all the information about it, they kept putting like these adverts up and stuff because it's a podcast. And so they do what most podcasts do when they do advertising, which is they do the selling. They read out a spiel and that's how it works. Halfway through this show, they did this whole bit that was probably 15 minutes long where they basically did a whole advert for this product. And I really resent having paid for tickets to go and see something to then have to watch an advert. It's like paying for Sky TV and then sitting there having to watch adverts between things. It really, really frustrates me. It really does. And to me, that's what IP's doing. I know it's slightly different because a lot of it's things that you want to see and stuff, but it's not. It's still just... It's hard advertising, that's all it is.
It's another thing that makes me think that the upper management in Disney is completely out of touch with the clientele sometimes because of what you said about not every Skyliner has got a character. Every third one is blank. And the blank ones are so cool. The shape of them, and they've got like speed stripes down, they're so cool. The monorail, so cool. And I think real Disney Parks fans, which I think that's everyone who pays to go, basically. I'm not just talking people who have podcasts and things or comment on podcasts. I'm talking everybody. They love this world. And we can go into Primark and get anything we want with a big Mickey head on it. And, you just see it everywhere. You see it in every supermarket. Just greetings cards, everything. And to go on and see this really cool bit of architecture, this cool bit of transport that's just got a character on it, it's unnecessary. It cheapens it. But I don't think they realise the product. They don't understand their own product.
All this being said, if I talk to Laura about the new stuff that's coming to the studios, for instance, the idea of, we've talked about this, the idea of Marvel... area, the idea of the Star Wars area and all that sort of stuff, that is really appealing, and for kids of all ages, these different IPs are really appealing, and that's why they do it, isn't it? Because it brings those people in. But we've also, I think, had a problem they have also had a problem in the past where people reach an age where they're not Disney anymore, particularly in Paris, because the thrill rides were never really there. There's not masses and masses of them. There's not loads and loads to do there. So you reach a point where you're past it, and then in later life you come back again when you've got kids. Yeah. And I think that what they're trying to do with all of this is trying to fill that gap a bit and keep people there. And maybe, well, there's no maybe about it. I think they're probably going a little bit overboard with what they're trying to do with the IP, but I understand the principle behind it, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. I
think within the parks, I mean, how did this discussion start? I know we were going to have this discussion anyway, but it started with people saying, we want more Beauty and the Beast, why don't they have Tangled? And we were all agreeing with you. So I think within the parks and within the attractions... I
don't think of that as IP, though.
No.
To me, that isn't the same. I know it is the same, but when we talk about IP, I'm more thinking brands than I'm thinking things within those brands. And
also, if we think about like restaurants, when we came off the cruise line and we were all about the Rapunzel's Royal Table, and fantastic, it's got it's an IP. You're just immersed in an IP, and we loved it. The details were fabulous. It's really when they take something that is something else and just slap a brand on top of it, so it isn't integrally that. You know, like Pirates of the Caribbean is integrally Pirates of the Caribbean. If they put a Mickey face on the side of all the boats, you'd get upset because you're turning it into something it isn't. So with the hotels, with the transport...
But they have pushed the IP of the film within the ride.
And it's not that offensive with that.
No.
Like, see, sometimes it works. So I'm not completely anti it. I just think in moderation it works. Like, you know, there's a good Jack appearance at the end of that ride, and there's a nice one that isn't, you know, too over the top, popping out that barrel. I don't like the projections on the mist, especially when Lovejoy pops up, and I'm like, he really sort of dates it, and I don't know.
Would you be up for Haunted Mansion having Eddie Murphy there at the beginning? Look at these huge knackers.
Or what they overlaid the Muppet one onto it.
Just to
I'd actually like that.
Play devil's advocate with Pirates of the Caribbean. For first, I agree with you. I think it's quite well done. But we're at a point now where there's a generation of legal adults who no longer remember that it's not a film. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's 18 years old, is it? So you've got legal adults who weren't alive before this was a Johnny Depp film. So you've got all those young people coming who would go, if you didn't do the overlay, they'd go on that ride and go, that's brilliant. Where was Johnny Depp? You know what I mean? Well, where was Captain Jack? Let's be a bit
And then
honest.
you go, well, it's an interesting story, that. But, you know, those films were actually based on this ride, and then suddenly they'd have a massive appreciation for the ride because of what it led to.
Yeah.
Hi to the Dunn family and Caitlin Jackson.
Hello.
Old friends.
Dunn family, I did mention the fact earlier, if you've already heard it, I'm sorry to say this again, but we received your Christmas cards, but then I left them in my wing, so
you could have told them. You could have told them that we showed it earlier in the show.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have known.
Well, now they know.
I wish there was more IP in Discoveryland. I hate the blue and gold. That's interesting. We did say there was quite a lot of IP in Discoveryland. Is it the steampunk Jules Verne that you don't like?
I do like that.
I think
it's its own space.
It takes it apart from the other parks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I keep talking over you, Chris.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
all
I'm
right.
very rude.
You're not talking over me at all.
And again, I'd like a Star Wars hotel at Paris, but if it was just like a load of Tatooine like outbuildings in the sand, that's all it has to be for me. You know, just a kind of like a desert little.
They could have done that with the Santa Fe, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Oof, yeah.
But like, if you look at the
put domes on
if you
top.
look at some of the rooms in the Disney World one, in that ridiculously expensive experience that they're offering, the BB-8 themed. And it kind of looks cool, but it doesn't need to be BB-8. I think people get it. You know, I don't think you need to. You need to go in and then go. Oh, look! It looks a bit like BB-8. It's just enough to be in a Star Wars room.
Look at Star Tours in itself, right? Star Tours, yes, it's Star Wars, but the whole time you're doing it, it feels like its own thing. And I know when you sat down there, you're going through through bits of the films, but everything about that queue, everything about all of it, whether those characters are there or not that you recognise, it immerses you in that world, and that to me is what the hotel should be doing as well. You don't need it in your face, and BB-8 is all right, quite a major character when it comes to the droids, I guess, in those films, but it's kind of throwaway, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you don't like BB-8, then you've had it as soon as you walk into that hotel.
I think the Art of Marvel Hotel, and I am going to come back to Star Wars with this, I think in retrospect it's a stroke of genius, because first of all they have whacked an IP on it, but they've told you they're doing it and they've not been bashful about it. They've named, if they just said they were remodeling the Hotel New York, and when they reopened it there was Spider-Man on every door, everyone would be complaining and rolling their eyes. But because they've said we're doing this and it's the Art of Marvel, and they've really made a thing about the concept designs, costumes, the art is the focus. I think it's done fantastically. Now, I heard someone who worked at Universal say why there wasn't a Harry Potter hotel. And they said that J.K. Rowling was insisting everything was totally immersive. And if you had a Harry Potter hotel, you would have to theme all the maids' carts. You couldn't have a phone in the room.
The pictures on the wall would have to move.
Yeah, all this kind of thing. And they couldn't have computers on the check-in desk.
No.
They couldn't have stuff like that. They couldn't have iPads in the hands. And logistically, they couldn't possibly run a functioning hotel and not have you see a single like vacuum cleaner, for example. They just couldn't do it. So that's why...
They have vacuum cleaners.
And I think that this kind of goes the same with your immersive Star Wars hotel. They must have ways around it. But, I mean, they don't have to deal with magic, do they? But I think the best thing to do, if they were to do a Star Wars hotel in Paris, would be to do the Art of Star Wars.
The clever thing about the Art of Marvel is they've taken what is effectively a corporate hotel and made it appeal to families.
Yeah.
Like massively.
Really. I mean, our friends with a 3-year-old... That's where they want to stay. So everything I just said about Santa Fe and Cheyenne having the cars and the Toy Story, they're not interested in that. They want to go to Heart of Marvel.
And, you know, the Disneyland Hotel is stunning, but if you're a 10 or 11-year-old boy, are you going to want to go and stay in that big pink hotel?
Wedding cake.
You're just not. And even when they update it and it's got all the princess themed rooms as well, boys aren't going to want to go there. And I think they're missing a trick there, because it could still be just as stunning and just as good, but appeal to everybody and anybody. And I think that's a real struggle. But then I guess the Marvel Hotel is the same, because they've still got this, you know, gender. It feels like there's still this kind of, these are boys things and these are girls things about the whole idea of I know Marvel have tried a bit, but Marvel and Star Wars and princesses and pirates, and it's all just. You know what I mean? Without getting into massive gender discussions and things, it's
that's the thing.
It's a minefield.
Bonnie's doesn't know much about Marvel, but whenever Marvel's there, she's quite happy to get on board, and she likes a bit of Black Widow and things like that. So I can appeal. I know what you're saying about the Disneyland Hotel. Now, interestingly, we scrolled past it, and so I don't know who said it now, but we were talking. Somebody said, I think it was Penny, how much IP do you think they'll put on the newly remodeled Disneyland Hotel? And my hope is not much, because it used to be a really good example of what I just said about you had to work to find it. They had some brilliant little icons in the carpet. They had it on the wallpaper. They had it in banisters, but it was hidden. It was all hidden. And then they did have some like cabinets with some memorabilia in. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
what
but it's like vintage stuff.
Vintage
and it was,
stuff,
marionettes
yeah.
or something. It was really just nice to see.
Yeah.
The concept art is more pictures than anything else, isn't it? I just remember that we'd seen some.
Right.
See, that is quite IP.
Pictures above the beds of princes and princesses basically together, like dancing or whatever.
Yeah, that looks like a massive portrait of Cinderella.
Yeah.
I think that is a bit too on the nose.
That's it. It's on the nose. Emily and Caitlin are talking my language in the chat. They're on about Emily's talking about kids' princess dresses that have a picture of a princess
that
on
annoys
the
hell
dress.
out of me.
It's like, do you know what it's like? It's like putting ketchup on a tomato because it's not tomatoey enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, those dresses really annoy me.
Yeah.
Why, nobody wants that, do they?
No, and the
it's
child doesn't. They want to dress up as ba-bum, don't they?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like if you dress up as Spider-Man, you don't want a picture of Spider-Man on it, do you?
No.
Because then you're not Spider-Man. You're
It makes no sense.
some idiot in a rubbish costume. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Do
Do you know what? It works well in the where did we stay a couple of years ago?
Caribbean Beach.
No, DLP.
Sequoia.
Sequoia Lodge
I
is
can't
a
remember.
little bit Bambi.
Yeah, it is, but like it works because basically all you've got are little soft drawings of woodland creatures, and it's, with the right IP, it works. And if that was just something else before, and then they introduced Bambi, I'd say, do you know what? That was tastefully done. Fair enough.
I think it was, and they did, and it is basically.
It was, and they did, and
there's-
it is.
There's wood carvings,
and it will be forevermore.
It fits so well in what it. And if they didn't have pictures of Bambi, what would they have pictures of? They'd still have pictures of woodland creatures.
Yeah.
It just happens that they have a woodland creature to have pictures of.
Newport Bay's nice as well, though.
I love the headboards at Newport
Yeah,
Bay.
and the wallpaper's just, it's like portholes with the characters in them, with the Fab Five in them, and that's it. It's a really nice they're really nice rooms. And then they've got a boat theme to them. You know, you feel like you're in a cabin, but
Yeah.
without the movement.
I'm
Which
like-
is always a bonus.
So, to summarise, and you boys can agree or disagree, hotels, we want IP to be there, but we want to have to look for
Subtlety.
it, subtle. And modes of transport, we don't want IP, we want them to carry themselves in their own iconic design.
I think it's all right on the buses.
In the parks,
Because it's just a
Go-
bus.
yeah.
Who cares about a bus? You're not going to go, ooh, the iconic bus.
fill your boots. Yeah, do as attractions, do things like that. I think the days are gone when they can give us an original concept in an attraction and expect us to. I just don't think they're going to do it. I'd love them to do it and I'd appreciate them doing it, but I just don't think they're going to. And that won't be the worst thing.
Caitlin was saying she was insulted even as a 5-year-old when she saw those princesses on princess dresses.
Yeah, agreed.
Originality isn't the way things are created these days, is it? It's always, let's take an old idea and do something new with it. So
Follow the money.
The people with the money aren't create. I heard George Lucas talk about this. He said, when I first made Star Wars, the people in charge of movie studios were creative people and they would take a gamble on an idea. And he says, now the people in charge of studios are financial people and they don't gamble. They want proof before they give you the money that it is going to succeed. So not will this succeed, could this succeed, will people like this? It's the one evidence. So when they greenlight live action remakes of something like Cruella, they need evidence that Emma Stone is a bankable star, that this director has done a big budget thing before, that IP is one that's popular, that people like Cruella as a character, and they will do full on customer research. Public research?
It's really telling when they announce a sequel, like in the second week of the film's release.
Yeah.
Because they can see it's doing well and they go, well, we're going to announce it, the sequel's coming.
Regardless of whether
It's not about art.
a story needs it. Yeah, that's the other thing with sequels that really annoys me. If you've seen a film with a fully rounded character arc from start to finish, the story is finished, and you've got to a real conclusive point, and then, like Maleficent, for example, you'd got to the end of the Sleeping Beauty film and you'd got to the full transformation and redemption of Maleficent as a character, and then they were, oh, but we're doing a sequel. What are you going to do?
and yet we all love Frozen 2.
But when you saw it, didn't you think, oh, there was a story to tell?
Oh, I did. I felt like it.
Yeah.
It felt to me like it was a
there
natural
were-
continuation, but
Yeah.
And it
There were
took a
unanswered
while
questions.
to come out, didn't it? It wasn't like,
Yeah.
an immediate it's done well. Let's
Milk
announce
that
it.
cow.
It
they
Yeah.
took
took
the
a
Toy
while.
Story method, didn't they? Of putting some shorts in between the films. Like they went, oh, people like this, so let's test the water a bit and see what these bits are like. Oh yeah, that's working. Okay, well we will do another film though.
Yeah. It worries me, this thinking that,
I've got another one for you. We didn't need another 4 Home Alone films after the second one.
Hold up our Christmas card. Have you got it there?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
We've done a Home Alone Christmas card. You can't see that on the...
That's what Hugh looks like without glasses.
If you listen... No, I don't look like that.
Who does Hugh look like there? Who do you look like here? Because I can't remember.
Mark Gatiss.
Mark Gatiss.
And I do sometimes when I take my glasses off. My nose isn't that shape.
that
I'm just
face?
pulling a face and it's going into that shape. For any listeners, it'll be on my Instagram by the by December, Christmas Eve. It'll be on my personal Instagram.
That really hurt.
What we're talking about. What did you do?
Nothing. I had my Pfizer jab today. I've had
Oh,
my booster
yeah.
and my arm is just
Oh
dead.
no.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Right, I'm going to head for a wrap up, guys, if
Ooh.
that's okay.
God, that hour's gone quick, hasn't it?
It
Yeah.
has.
There's just something I'd like to mention first. Well, 2 things, one leading on from the other. First of all, as you know, we have been doing Vlogmas. We are now on day 12. I just rapidly uploaded day 12. While we're setting up for this, the computer's still running over there, actually. So I haven't changed the thumbnail on
And it might
yet.
have a long black bit in it.
But yeah, because I haven't been able to check it. Anyway, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about
It'll
it.
be right.
I want to say thank you to everybody who's watched and commented. These are very kind of small, put together things, but they've been very well received. And more than the views is the amount of people who've bothered to watch to the end and then comment on what I've done or said, and we've had some interaction, and it really means a lot when we're putting this level of work in.
I'm sure it was the Dunn family who suggested I draw a buzz for one of them. I can't next week because I am stacked with work, like right up until midnight every night. But the week after, that's all falling away, and I'm going to do this Buzz Lightyear drawing for one of the vlogs.
Ooh.
I'm going to ask the boys similar questions to what you asked Bonnie.
Yeah, that was a hastily done one.
I think I'm going to watch it back and write down the questions because you didn't, and ask them similar questions. I think some of them work quite well.
Just real quick, Penny's saying off topic, but Lucy loves Disney Bounds. Have you seen a book called The Art of Disney Costuming?
No, I haven't.
I bought that book for my mother for Christmas last year. That was her introduction to Disney books, and I also bought my dad a copy of The Art of Walt Disney. Concise edition as well.
I would love that by the sound of it. Fantastic. Thank you for the.
It's great, yeah. All this stuff like Beauty and the Beast.
Well, we're going to your mum's house next Sunday. We'll ask her to find it. And if she can't find it, then she's taking it to a charity shop, and you should be cross.
So where was it? So we're halfway through Vlogmas now. So we've got another 12 days to go. So thank you so much to everyone who supported us. We've done it. These boys have got some things coming, haven't you?
Yes, got some, as we just
Eventually.
said, a couple of bits, yeah.
Thank you so much so far, and keep watching them because they are going to be daily uploads now. And then I wanted to say, right before I did Vlogmas, I thought it'd be good to use it as a fundraiser for something. I know a lot of people do that. I'd never done it before. I didn't know if it was successful. I didn't know if people were going to watch it, and I thought this might be me just like putting something there and don't get a single penny. But as I do seem to be having quite good feedback for it, I've decided that I'm going to make it a small fundraiser for Give Kids the World. Now, Give Kids the World is a village in Orlando, Florida, that is designed for terminally ill and chronically ill children and their families to go so they can have Disney World holidays. And they have got critical care units on site, and they've got fully trained doctors on site. All the rooms are fitted out for various different abilities and disabilities, like they've got hoist beds, things that these families could never book a normal hotel. They have to book medical facilities in order to go on holiday. And it's not just for the poorly children, but what turned me onto it, I'm getting tearful, is when I heard the testimonies of siblings who had gone. So these siblings can never have a family holiday of this type because they've got a poorly sibling, and so much time and energy goes on there. So if you've got a 10-year-old brother who is critically ill and in a wheelchair, and you're a 7-year-old, and you'll never get a Disney holiday. And so there's a lot of fundraising that goes on for individual trips, and then there's general fundraising that goes on for the facilities. And given that it brings me and us so much joy and happiness, and it brings my 7-year-old and your children so much happiness to be able to experience this, and also for the parents, because how much worry must it be for them to go anywhere and do anything, and when they've got doctors on site. I just think I love it as an organisation. I know plenty of other Disney outlets that fundraise for them, so I decided that I was going to do that too. So from now, I don't like to push things too much, but I thought you might like to hear about that. Give Kids the World, and I'm going to put a link on all my Vlogmas videos, and I'll probably give it a little mention as well. So if you want to just give 50p, £5, whatever, I've only set my target to £100. Yeah.
Multiples of 5.
I've only set the target for my giving page to £100. I'm not expecting to make thousands out of this, but anything that you can give, it's a Give the Kids the World fundraising page, so it goes directly to them. It doesn't filter through me. But I'd really love it if we could reach our £100 goal by Christmas Eve, and then that might be enough to, give one of these siblings who've had this difficult life in a difficult family environment an amazing Disney trip. Thank you very much. Anything else, fellas?
I want to apologise. Last week we recorded Encanto, and I haven't had a chance to do the edit yet, but we have an Encanto episode coming to the classics. It'll be out in a couple of days' time. And we're recording now, aren't we, as well? We're going to do what is, I guess, our Christmas episode. We're not reviewing a film. We're going to do a bit of a retrospective of the whole of the classics experience, going back and thinking about the different ages and all that sort of stuff, really. So just a bit of a chat and things. And should we say next week's going to be our last one of the year? Should we say that?
I think so.
Yeah.
We think it is.
Yes.
Why not?
we're going to have a little 2-week break of the regular podcast. I did think, I haven't said this out loud, and really this involves Hugh more than Chris, but I thought I might finish the Vlogmas with a live stream on Boxing Day where we might show some gifts we'd got or something, just to say hello. But I don't know if we're doing that for definite. I will let you know.
We'll try and
we
put
could go live on New Year's Eve, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We could. We'll try and like put things up where we can as well, just in the meantime. On the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just to keep it up. You know, I really enjoy when I've got time doing those drawings. I still haven't put the Mickey Mouse one on ever.
No. You just put it on Twitter.
I'll upload that like today probably, because it's only like a 30-minute long video or something.
The Vlogmas thing in general, though, I think is great. It's given me ideas of things I want to do, even if I've not had a chance to do them yet. And if we run out of time, there's no reason we can't keep doing little 10-15 minute bits like that, is there?
Well, do you know? And I know we're wrapping up now, but the advice that I got from experienced YouTubers was do quantity, not quality. And I think what this has forced me to do is every single day stand in front of a camera and talk and think of something to talk about, edit a video really quick, because I've usually got to get to work in the next 15 minutes, upload it, boom, and leave the house. And I think that that's been good practice for me, apart from anything else.
Cool.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Great cars. Yes, it is. Good luck, Lucy. What a great idea. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Enthusiasm, Lucy.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I don't want to go, oh, guys, thanks for saying such nice things about me. So, yeah, there's a unicorn of shame. Thank you all very much for joining us. We will see. I've been Lucy. These have been the boys. We will see you again. Good night.
Bye pals.